grab your drinks, grab your snacks, grab everything you need, and let's have this good old conversation down to the.
You have to do it.
All right, blacks and everybody in between, we are back for the living room, and I know we hadn't been here in about maybe a week or so, but we're back, so don't worry about why we ain't been here. I already set the conversation for you, right? So we're gonna go straight into it, Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the game or not. You know I didn't, but there were footage when LeBron came out, addressed Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith looked very intimidated. Just kind of stood there and took it. Before we get into like the greater conversation of it all, no pun intended, like, do you think that this was like LeBron stunting for the cameras to be like, I'm going to do this publicly to kind of do this? Do you think Stephen A. Smith is all barking no bite because he just kind of stood there and took it? Like, what are your thoughts of the actual incident?
I feel like LeBron had to prove a point. Like, don't talk about my child, which is fair. I get it. Stephen A. Smith, I feel like you couldn't see his response, but he looked real like he was just taking it. Well, I feel like I couldn't have done that. Like, you're not about to be
absolutely
doing this
not.
In
I don't
front
care
of,
who you are, fan.
I would have, because he didn't even step up to LeBron. Like, even to defend himself, and even the aftermath on his TV show, he didn't defend.
He
himself.
was very docile on his.
And I get it. LeBron James is the king of sports.
Man, please,
right? But hell no. Nah. Like, there's no way are you about to be embarrassing me. And niggas is looking at Stephen A. like getting chewed out by LeBron. Like, nah, bro. Because I didn't say anything. Basically, for those that don't know, you might not watch sports. Basically, Stephen A. had some true things to say about LeBron James.
And they were all factual. Like, Stephen A. usually talks outside his neck, but particularly about Bronny, he's been pretty fair.
Yeah, and he prefaced it by saying, I feel like he has the potential to be a good NBA player, a solid NBA player, but right now, he's not ready. Which is fair. And
if you look at the stats, it proves that statement.
He's not ready. There are people who don't have jobs right now that are not in the NBA. You got the job because of who you are and what your dad's name is. You wouldn't be on anybody else's team. That's just that we be honest.
That's just what it is. Yeah.
I feel like LeBron was doing a little extra to stand up for his son, which I get it. His son is also a grown man. So that would be odd for like your mom calling your manager to stand up for you.
In that case, yeah.
Which would be weird. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I couldn't got punked like that. There's no way.
And for me, it was less about, and I guess it's one and the same, but my perspective is like it's less about being punked and more just like man to man. Wait, because even if it was nothing else, you saw him be like, wait a minute.
You ain't about to
be
talking
this.
To.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like,
you standing over me.
Yeah, and you because you already told him. Because here's the other thing about LeBron. I know that's your son, and we can get into all that. But LeBron wasn't do nothing stupid in front of them cameras on that. Right. So, and I don't believe Stephen A. would have done nothing stupid either. But because I wouldn't even try to provoke you into a fight. It would have been like, hey, bro, we can talk about this somewhere else. But we not finna do. You're not finna sit here and be hollering at me.
No.
Right? And that camera could have panned around, but you would at least saw my hand from the back doing something like this.
Oh,
because you're not finna do. And I wouldn't have raised my voice because I'm not trying to make a scene, but it would have been like, hey, bro, I hear you, but you need to pipe down.
Yeah.
Pipe down.
Because what you're not going to be doing is because he was real demonstrative in missing his face. Like, no, bro.
Yeah. And he took
who you are.
And that's part of me. Like, I'm not going to ever say I don't respect or I don't like Stephen A. Smith. He's obnoxious, right? He is who he is. But that's where it's like, bro, you do all this yelling, all this on, and when this man stepped to you, the very least you could have done would have been like, hey, even if you would have said, this ain't the time and the place, homie. Like, because with me, my biggest flex would have been like, we ain't finna do this. And I would have literally left LeBron standing there. That would have pissed him off more.
Yeah.
But I would have went back to my seat and like, hey, bro, I'm not going to do this with you.
Yeah. Brushing him off would have made him look real stupid.
Yeah. Like hey, bro, I'm good.
Nah, you
I'm
good. Nah.
Yeah.
We ain't about to do this.
We're not about to do this because this is not, one, you're not about to disrespect me. And two, this is not about to turn into the moment that you think it's about to turn into.
Yeah.
Like, I said this. And then I would have got back on my show and be like, this is what happened. And my comments remain the same. Yeah. I didn't disrespect you. I didn't disrespect your son. He's not ready to play.
Yeah.
He's performing well in the G League because he's performing against his peers who are on the same level of play that he is. A few more years developing in that league, he likely could be a B-list NBA player, right? Or a significant role player or whatever he is. He's not going to be the superstar you are.
Never.
Right? And right now, he's not trending towards that because y'all are not letting him develop.
Right.
Those are facts.
Look at the stats. Playing time. He's not going to play. If y'all are winning, or the Lakers are in second place in the Western
right
Conference,
he's
not going to play. He's not going to get in the game. So,
and it's going to be garbage minutes if he does play when y'all blowing somebody out.
Right. Like, why? So, and that's what bothered me too is I think y'all sent the clip of the aftermath when he was talking about on the show. Like, you should have doubled down on it and been like, nah, like, what I said was true. But instead he was like, oh, that wasn't a basketball player. That was a father. I don't care.
And I hear that too, because I think Kev on stage said something in his podcast and was like, no parent wants to hear the truth about their child being mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know, somebody come to you and be like, but I think two things are true, like I put into the group chat. One, y'all are celebrities. So as much as I feel like celebrities do also, they're human and they reserve the right to have their own privacy and they have feelings and emotions. One thing that comes with the job, though, is the fact that what you do professionally becomes a part of news, whether that's celebrity gossip, whether that's sports analysts, whatever.
Yeah.
In this particular case, sports analyst job is literally to provide analysis of the sport, which also includes doing that analysis of the players, which also includes, because of ratings, having to talk about the top-rated players and the top-rated subjects. Right now, Bronny, for this season, has dominated much of the news cycle because of his relationship with his father, right? And to your point, whether we can prove it empirically or not, anybody, and even though I joke about being a sports aficionado, anybody who knows anything about sports and being traded and drafted and all those different kinds of things knows that Bronny James, with the level of collegiate performance that he had in basketball, either likely would not have been picked up or would not have been picked up even at the spot he was picked up in, right? He would have had to walk on, try out, play another, you know what I'm saying? And we know this to be true because of his father. And LeBron James is on record of saying, if you want me, you gotta pick my son. Like, these are things that you've said. Yeah. These are things that we know. There are players, right, who didn't get drafted. And we're not going to say that Bronny took their spot because we don't know if they would still be in the league or not. Right. But who performed better on the collegiate level, who didn't get drafted. So the point is that I don't think it's beautiful that LeBron and his son were able to play in the league on the same team. As a father, I love it. I respect it. But as someone who is unbiased into the whole situation, I also see how he's not pulling his weight.
No, he's not.
At all.
And to me, I think my thing is like, would you stick up for your coworker? Because this is your coworker.
The way LeBron
right. When y'all that's the thing is like you're not separating the two. Like when you show up to the Lakers facility, put the Lakers jersey on, he's your coworker. He's not your son. You don't ride for none of your other coworkers like you ride for Bronny.
Because here's the thing: if Bronny wasn't Bronny, and the Lakers need to do this, which they kind of just did, but if they need to do another like massive trading pack, Bronny would probably be in that package of sending some folk off that team to get rid of salaries. You know what I'm saying? To make space. Like the only reason he probably wasn't in that package deal with Ant was because he's Bronny James. Like, like we have to be honest. Yeah. Because if anyone else, he would have been out. He would have been on, and then probably would have got waived by the other team and not be playing right now because based on his stats, he's not going to benefit any team right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say Scottie Pippen is what we thought, but here's the thing about Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen Jr. took some time and developed in the G League, took some time and did some 10-day contracts, and now he's the backup PG for Ja and shows up. Right, but it took some years of development for him to get to that space, right? And he's not gonna say he's just, but he's Scottie Pippen's son, right? Who was all, you know what I'm saying? Like he didn't even have the same level of expectation. So if that man said, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I think as a father, and this was the father part for me, it would be a disservice for me to pressure my son. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey son, I love you. We're gonna send you where's their G League name? Los Lobos?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so something down there. The Santa Cruz Suns, whatever they are down there in LA. But like, I'll be like, hey son, I love you, but I need you to spend this whole year in the G League. And maybe I would have convinced him to pop out so we could have that historic moment on the court together. But after that, develop. Son. Develop.
And improve these folks that you're available.
That you are who you are. Yeah, you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's context for what we're saying. So, Brian, I want to go into like this whole thing. Have you ever had to confront someone over something that was said or done to your family member? And if you did, how did you handle it?
Plenty, but I'm gonna say with children for a second.
Okay.
Is unique in terms of she's the only child, of course, but she's a big personality, but she's also really sensitive. So you could say the wrong thing to her, and she's hard on herself. She's sensitive. All the things. So when it was time for her to go to the next class, the teacher that they were going to have her with, I would walk in there, and she'd be like fussing at the kids, yelling at the kids, all that kind of stuff. And I felt like she didn't really rock with Brooklyn. So I was like, we're not about to have this. You know what I'm saying? And even though like I'm a strict dad, but I'm also like I'm an advocate for my child, right? So I think she was yelling something. It was fussing, and then it was during summer school, leading up to it, and I called the administrator of the school and was like, hey, we need to meet. Because what we're not going to do is have Brooklyn go through a whole year of some teacher fussing at her or doing X, Y, Z. So we literally had a meeting, had to sit down, have a conversation. I said, I'm strict on Brooklyn. I have expectations for Brooklyn to be respectful, to be responsible, do all the things. But what we're not going to do, I've seen you yell at these other kids before, not to this one. I don't care what you do to Bradley and Johnny and all that kind of stuff, but what you're not going to do is yell at Brooklyn. And what you're not going to do is stifle her personality. Does she need to learn? Yes. Does she need to be respectful? Yes. If there's moments where she's not being respectful or she's been disobedient or any of the things, you let me know. But what we're not going to do is yell at Brooklyn. No, that's what we're not going to do. So that's kind of been those things. I've mentioned before. We had moments where I've gotten told to leave places because I feel like 50 people in my family are disrespected. I've gotten into incidents with relatives over my siblings before. I've never been a person to see somebody that I love be talked to negatively and not respond. So I'm gonna say something. Like I'm gonna say something. I'm not quiet. We gotta do. But yeah, that's usually how I handle it. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna do it nicely, but I'm probably talking my hands and be like, hey, listen, I see what's going on. I understand. What we're not gonna do is this. And if we gotta talk it through, we gotta work it out. We're gonna do that, but we're not gonna go there. That's usually how I'm gonna work it out. What about you?
Similar, stick with kids. So this current school year, Jaden had a tough time. So in 5th grade, and maybe they'll do this in Gwinnett County too, but I know in 5th grade, they prepare the kids for middle school and exchanging classes. So they do like math and science with one teacher and then English and social studies with another. So his math and science teacher, they were just not clicking. And Jaden is one of those students who math isn't his strong suit, but if he sits and locks in and tries, he's good.
Yeah.
But he got to get beyond his own frustration, which at 10 years old is a challenge. I was that same kid. However, I saw this TikTok that read me down about like being labeled as gifted and how they took you down a rabbit hole of trauma responses with excellence and excelling, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Nevertheless, but because I had that, I didn't have time. Me personally didn't have time to be frustrated. Right, I wasn't as emotionally aware and mature as my 10-year-old was that I was 10 years old. So it was like, Joshua, go home and study and lock in. Yeah. Like when I got a mama telling me we don't make C's. Yeah. Right. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. So with our child, like he can do it, but he gets so frustrated. So anyway, they weren't clicking. I mean, and to the point to where the teacher was saying some stuff and Asha works at the school. So she's navigating, trying to be social worker, trying to be mama. Yeah. And one of the times she's like, babe, I can't do it. I need you to respond. Reverend, I clack these fingers. And typed up an email, and I referred to like documents and stuff that we put in place for Jaden, and she her tone was so different. Yeah. And we eventually got Jaden out of that class. Right. He's in another class. And they have it set up to where if you're in this homeroom, you go to this math and science teacher who's like, nah, you got to do. So anyway, but we got support from the principal and all the type of thing. What I'm saying is that when it comes to my children, I'm gonna always advocate for, like you said, for them to do the right things, be respectful. Yeah. But what we're not going to do is be unfair. Right. I had a similar situation with Josh last semester with band. He didn't wear, they're supposed to wear all black shoes. His shoe, he had on some Jordans, but they was like black and white. And she tripped. And with Josh, when she said something to Josh rolled his eyes and whatever. So she took off like, I think the grade was worth 300 points. She took off like 250 points. Wow. Because of his attitude and some shoes. When I sent her an email and I said, I hear you about the respect. I said, now we'll have a conversation with Joshua about rolling his eyes and whatever he did. I said, but taking 250 points off because you got your eyes rolled at you and he had a little white in his shoe. I said, I don't care what you're explaining to me right now. It is unacceptable. And I'm not going to sit here and agree with you that infraction was worth 50 points out of 300 points. Are you kidding me? You gave my son a 50 because he wore the wrong shoes? Right. And roll his eyes at you. I said, he's in the 8th grade. Like, again,
that's retaliation.
Right, I am not excusing the fact that he was a disrespectful little 8th grader. But what I'm also saying is that I understand 13-year-olds. Right. And you did this in the middle of a performance, in the middle of, and you moved, and she moved his seat too. So she took him out the front row, put him on the second row. He had a solo, so he was like, how am I supposed to do my solo? And I know he asked it just like that, right? So he was in his bag of irritation. And I told her, I said, I am not at all excusing any of this behavior. But she not only did that, she like So told him he couldn't be in this. He couldn't go to this performance. I said, man, the crime does not meet the punishment. And we was on the phone for like 20 minutes going back and forth. And I finally told her, I said, you can actually stop explaining to me because I'm done listening to you. I said, what you're telling me, your rationale is not going to make me change my mind that it was an excessive punishment. She's like, understood. So what do you suggest? I said, my suggestion is that one, you reconsider your grading standard. Yeah. That's number one. I said, number two, we're not going to not allow my child to participate in all of these activities because he got an attitude one time. I said, how many 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds in that school has got an attitude with you? Right. Have you taken away all of their privileges because of their one attitude? I said, how many times have you gotten an attitude and your privileges weren't taken away?
Right.
I said, so no. I said, I'm not going to excuse his behavior, but you're not about to do this, right? And I feel like, to your point about teaching, you gotta, because now we're dealing with millennial teachers. Yeah. You know, we're dealing with ourselves. Yeah. So now you got to be like, wait a minute, girl, I know this playbook. Right. I know this playbook. We're not about to do this. Right. But this wasn't even a millennial teacher. This is a Gen X, probably a boomer teacher, right? Who takes disrespect, like, you know, to a whole nother level. And again, never going to excuse poor behavior from a child. But you're not about to throw the book at them because they had a moment. They had a moment. You know how hormonal 13-year-olds are? Yeah. You know how, and then it's embarrassing. I'm seated in my seat. You didn't ask me to get up, move to you're doing, and then this concert started 30 minutes late. So everybody irritated. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're not even understanding the conditions in which you did all of this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm an advocate for my kids. But I tell my kids this though. When I come to you and ask you questions, I don't care how bad it is. I need you to be 5,000% honest with me. Yeah, because I'm about to go off. Yeah, and if I go off and then I look stupid, or you're about to get shot.
That's my mom. My mom be like, don't you lie to me, because I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna act a fool.
My mom was the same. I didn't have many instances my mama needed to do that, but she was like, if I go up here though, and they got evidence to prove otherwise, it's gonna be worse for you, son. So that's what I tell Job, like, tell me everything. He told me, he said he rolled his eyes, he talked back. I said, okay. I said, I'm gonna deal with you. I just need to know all of this. Yeah. So when she brings it to me, I know how to advocate.
Right. Yeah. Because at no point in time, to your point and my point, we're not going to excuse our children's bad behavior.
Yeah, at all.
We're not going to do that. Right. Because there also needs to be a lesson to them how to respond, even if you don't like what they're saying.
Yes.
You still need to respond respectfully. And if you come home and tell me like, hey, this is what happened, X, Y, Z. Right. But so you still got to deal with that. But no, I don't fool with that. Like I was going to ask something like, as far as that is concerned, is the what's I want to say as far as the handling the situation, is it trying to find the common ground, or is it really trying to just get your point across, like the principle of it all?
So with my children, especially with school, it's finding the common ground. Okay. Because as much as I could be irritated and could just go off, my child has to go to this classroom. Yeah. Right. So I don't want to. And I'll be very transparent without saying names. What ended up happening with Jada's teacher is that it became personal, which is another reason why we need to get him out that classroom. Because based on what the stuff Ash would tell me we would hear and stuff like that, and stuff that the teacher was saying to other teachers, like, you started to not like my child. So now, when I go off this time, it's going to be real nasty. Yeah. And if it get that nasty, then if I figure out you doing stuff to him, oh baby, it's because Asha is a beast all by herself with her children. But if I gotta pull up to East Atlanta in person because of something, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't Jaden got into a fight or Jaden got sick, or like because a teacher wanted to act up with a 10-year-old. Yeah. Call the cops now. Yeah. Because I ain't gonna hit you. But when I get done going off, it's gonna be bad. So for me, it's always common ground, because, and that's the thing, even with his band teacher, even though what I described sounded intense, with Josh's band teacher, it was a very mature yet intense conversation between adults. And at the end of it, we did come to a resolution. And she was like, you know what, Miss Rogers, I hear you. She said, I'm gonna tell you this: if he has even a lick of white in his next shoe, blah 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 blah. I said, you're telling me this as if it's like an ultimatum, and I hear you. And I had to come back to her and be like, I still don't like the way you coming at me, but I hear you. What you're saying is that, you'll reconsider this, but he has to comply going forward. And we went about Josh the gangster all black Air Force. You know what I'm saying? But in order for his next performance to happen, those are the only all black shoes of his size that we could find. But they're all black, he do his thing. So for me, it's addressing the principle, yes. But when it comes to my children, depending on the situation, it is about common ground. Now, if this was like and I hate to say this, but if this was like some random person at church, like in the audience, even as Pastor Josh, oh, you finna get it. It is my child. But if it's in a situation where my child has to be in this situation with this person consistently, we're looking for the ways in which we can continue to make that relationship at least be amicable. Otherwise, I'm addressing the issue and we're done. And that's like, you know what I'm saying? And it may not even get wild and crazy, but I'm not necessarily looking for there to be common ground. I need you to hear what I'm saying. I need you to understand that's a child.
Yeah, because I think you said some earlier as far as like we felt like the person didn't like. That was kind of thing. What is that Brooklyn school? Like I felt like the teacher didn't like her. There will be a level of bias of if she does anything, you're already on alert because you don't like this child. And that was my thing. I wanted to nip it in the bud. And I think that might be the question: do you let things slide, or do you say, you know what, I'm not gonna let nothing slide. I'm gonna hit it before it becomes an issue. So do you say like, you know what, I'm gonna wait, or I'm gonna be proactive? If I feel something, I see something, I'm gonna be proactive before I even get any type of situation. Like I see where this might go, so let's deal with it now. Or do you want to wait till something happens before you say something?
You know, so I'll go back to Josh. So Josh is full blown diagnosed ADHD, like full blown. Did the test, everything. That ain't no secret. We've talked about it before. But in fifth, and when he was 5 in kindergarten, he did not have that diagnosis. So we was like, this is the time of us figuring it out. Going to the I mean, that's when I say psychiatrist, I mean psychiatrist. I know a word I'm using. Figuring it out, taking the test, doing all the things. So Josh was tearing them 4 kindergarten classes up. Do you understand me? And the first elementary school he went to, that white woman said, she told us to our face, because we were asking about, you know, well, what traits you see in Joshua? She said, well, I don't see any good traits in Joshua. Ooh. She said that to our face for a 5-year-old.
That's not a good environment to be in.
So I said, bet. Not only did we take him out that class, we got him after school.
Yeah.
Because any principal that allows a teacher to say that with no reprimanding at all, about a 5-year, and I don't care, like, and Josh wasn't killing nobody. He was just like, he just could not regulate his emotions at 5 years old. He didn't have the help. Me and Ash were trying to figure it out. Probably a little bit in denial at that time. You know what I'm saying, too? Yeah. So we were trying to figure it all out. But he went to another elementary school, Brian, with a black teacher. Yeah. Some of the same problems. When I tell you the way they approached Joshua, everything was so different. Yeah. And I could tell that one was frustrated with Joshua. And Joshua probably was her least favorite student. When I tell you she never made him feel like that, she never made us feel like that as parents. She would call us before she had to call the principal. Like, you know what I'm saying? And also, the dude is in kindergarten. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Joshua was doing some stuff. But at the same time, and this is why, getting on my DEI box, representation and thing is important. Yeah. Right? This is why black teachers matter. Because that white teacher gave up on my child and looked at my child who was coming from a middle-class household. Joshua walking in that thing wearing polo down on his, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All the things, but still looked at that black kid with his behavior was like, I'm done. And because it was a predominantly white school, we called ourselves taking him to the best school in Cobb County, which is still ranked the #1 elementary school in Cobb County. Yeah. But we took him to the school that was assigned to our house, and that black teacher worked with Joshua. Yeah. Saw that he could perform well. And then what we did as a parent, we finished the test. We ended up putting him in private school for a number of years. Yeah. Smaller class environments. You know what I'm saying? But so we did our things as a parent. But that black teacher, though, saw my child, right? Had a level of patience with my child, created strategies and stuff for us and stuff as parents. So to your point, nip it in the bud. Yeah. When it comes to my child, nip it in the bud. Especially if it's not anything that they are having full control over. I can't make you like my child. Right. Right? I also understand that as a teacher, there may be some students you don't care for. Yeah. Right? I could feel the way some of my teacher treated me versus other students in high school. Yeah. But I tell you this, they never made that child feel like less than. Yeah. They never made that child feel like they should have been in their classroom. But you can see the frustration with the teacher with some of those children. But it was never a thing of, I don't like you, I'm going to treat you wrong, you can't get no treats. You can't do this, you can't do that, right? And when that kind of stuff happens, when teachers are doing that and saying that, and not just teachers, I think it's easy just to talk about teachers. When those are kind of things that happen with your children, it's time to nip it in the book, because that's going to create trauma and all kind of stuff that they're going to eventually respond to as they get older. Because now they're used to rejection. Now they're looking at teachers and adult figures like, oh, they ain't gonna like me, so let me I ain't even try to be liked. I'm gonna be mean. I'm gonna show up mean, right? Yeah. And you don't want to encourage that level of trauma on them as well. So I say nip it in the bud. Now, when it comes to like people outside of my children, I take a very similar approach. But when it's adults, I'm an advocate. So I was watching a new episode of The Housewives last night. Okay. Shout out to the Atlanta Housewives finally coming back. Don't know how I feel about this season, but that's another conversation for another day. What I will say, though, is that Shamia is the anchor of the cast, and the tea was around Portia and the husband, her ex-husband, and people was like, why you steal that man's husband? Blah, 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 blah. Shamia and them got with some of the new girls, and they was like, why your friend steal that man's husband? And she was like, first of all, we're not finna talk about my friend like that. Like, you know, she immediately, I'm the same guy.
Yeah.
You come to me, nobody's going to ever be able to come to you, Brian, and say that they talk terrible about you to me. I'm not going to let it fly. Even if it's true. Because of the depth of our relationship, I'm going to be like, wait a minute. What we're not going to do is do this. One, he's not here to defend himself. Two, my loyalty is going to always be with him over you.
Right.
And three, it's okay that you brought it up, but I need you to change your tone. And we're not going to advance this conversation in a way that you think we're about to advance it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? If you did something crazy, be like, yeah, I hear you. And I talked to Brian, man. It was wild times. We're going to the next subject. Right. We're not going to do this.
No, we're not.
Because if it happened, it happened. If it's public knowledge, then it's public knowledge. But we're not about to go into the details and you trying to get the tea out of me. No, you want to know, go ask him. Right. But we're not about to do this with me. I'm not about to have this level of conversation with me. Right. So that's kind of how I am with my friends, my family, my wife. Like, you're not finna disrespect my people. And if I need to defend them in a way, like when I need to, I will defend them. Yeah. When I need to. I'm not, again, just like with my children, I'm never going to excuse their bad behavior if it was a bad behavior situation, but I'm not going to allow you to throw them, like cast them down and talk crazy about them. Not in front of me. Nah. It's just not about to happen. We don't do that. We're not about to have gossipy conversations about my friends. No, it's not going to happen. And if I do have a level of conversation about a friend, trust and believe it is with another friend who we're just as close with. Yeah. But we're not having that conversation just to gossip. We have that conversation probably be like, all right, now how we going to go talk to him? Yeah. We're getting our talking points together so that we can come to you. This ain't no conversation for us just to be on the other side of the phone going crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So there's still intentionality around the conversation, and it's nipping it in the bud. Plain and simple. I'm advocating for my crew, but you are definitely like, nah, I'm not letting that stuff slide. Not happening at all. So that brings us to like me going down a little bit. What are some, I guess, effective ways, Brian, that you think you can confront somebody about something but maintain your composure, especially if you had to do it in a professional, public, and I would even say church setting?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the type of person, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. Even though I may have all the receipts, all the information, I'm going to come at it to a place of like, hey, there may be a misunderstanding. Maybe we, may have got on the wrong foot. I'm going to leave some level of space and grace to where maybe they didn't understand what they were doing. Forgive them for they know not what they do, right? So I might come up with that place where maybe we didn't understand this, maybe we didn't. So that, however, allow me to inform you on X situation. So then going forward, this does not happen again. That's or the goal is resolution, right? If it's a situation to, because we don't want this happening again. Because also what you don't want is I don't want the real me to come out, right? So I'm gonna give you like what they in 40-year-old version, real nigga here now, right? You want nigga here now, like
nigga here now.
You don't want that, so I'm gonna give you this person first.
You don't want that Memphis
like, hey,
for real.
I'm
so
to come sorry.
Out.
Maybe a misunderstanding, maybe some challenges, And I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna come real humble, like, hey, I don't want this to happen, blah, blah, blah. However, let's find a way to, figure some things out. So then in the future, it doesn't happen again. There's a miscommunication. What method do we feel that might be best to serve us to going forward to when, we don't have any of these challenges, right? And then hopefully that they are just as humble, just as open. And even, I can even take it if they try to act like they tough, I can be like, I can still handle some of that. But I'm only going to allow so much of you trying to think because you're not in control. So we're going to nip that in the bud. Like, you're not going to feel like you're in control or you're in control of me or you're in charge. We're equals. We're on the same level. I don't care who this person is. This could be a leader. I don't care. We're all adults at this point. So maybe a misunderstanding. We just figure this thing out. So then in the future, this doesn't happen again because we got to work with each other. We got to deal with each other. We got to at least be cordial. So if it's work, if it's church, if it's anything, we got to work with each other to talking about your kids going to the same school. You want to make sure that the environment going forward is not toxic or it can be a cordial environment, right? Even if we ain't friends, we ain't none of these things, but at least we work together. All right, how can we work together? Worship together. How can we co-worship together? How can we worship together? I think that's how it got to work out. I'm gonna come humble. Now I'm gonna, leave space for grace. Maybe they didn't know what they were doing. Maybe I missed something up. Maybe I didn't understand. Find the common ground, and then at that point, what's the resolution for us going forward to make sure this doesn't happen again?
I agree 100%. The only thing I would change in my approach is that the level of humility I'm going to come with is going to be dependent on the severity of the situation.
I can understand it, yeah.
Now, in public, I'm not going to come off popping off.
Mm-hmm.
But when I intro this conversation talking about my mama had to step to a particular first lady about me.
Yeah.
Because that first lady was popping off. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, okay, I'm going to talk to this sister woman. Now, she went humble. But if you know my mama, that was a very matter of factness about
I'm sure
how she went over there.
Her kids. Yeah.
She went over there. And all I saw them talking, and all I saw was that both of their backs turned to the wall. And I said, oh, it's happening. It's happening. Right. And when I say the level, like, that's what I mean. Like, ain't gonna be a lot of, hey, how you doing? Can we talk? It's gonna be like, hey, how you doing? So I heard you had a bunch of things to say about, like, I'm going right into it. Yeah. So the humility, the calmness is the fact that the public is saving you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm irate, I'm coming at you the same way you came at my people or about me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not necessarily a match energy type of person, but I am also a like, this right now reserves me to be thinking and strategic, but I don't have time to be, just like with the LeBron thing we started off. You ain't finna come and be hollering immediately because we're public. I'm like, hey, like I'm already diffusing that with an A.
Yeah.
Like that's my humble, but I'm already kind of up like, hey, and if you keep hollering,
because
LeBron James or not,
you
about to get embarrassed.
Yeah, because you want a show, you want to give a show, we gonna give a show.
We gonna give a show.
Yeah.
We gonna give a show, and I'm gonna show you that you're the face of the NBA, but I am the face of sports television. Yeah. Right? So that's what Steven should have flexed.
Yeah,
like, did you not see me just sign this $100 million contract?
They're not firing me.
Right. I'm getting paid as much as you right now, homeboy.
Listen, and if they do fire me, I'm getting $100 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's we on the same level. We on the same level pay wise right now. You know what I'm saying? So like, so that's what I mean by like my approach would be like, I'm going like, if I'm not gonna make a scene, but you gonna feel my energy though, depending on the severity of it, because it's just like, we not gonna do that, and because I need you to know that I'm serious. I need you to know that this is not okay. I need you to know that, you know, I'm not tolerating this, and we can work to a resolution. Yeah,
we could do that. But like you said, my hands, my eyebrows, my eyes, my tone, because even if I am soft toned, that don't mean this, because if I come at you like, so I understand. Mm-hmm. That like, you know what I'm saying, like all of that is speaking and it's really loud, right? So like that will like, so I don't want y'all to conflict this word humility with passiveness. No. It's just that like I'm trying not to make a scene, but to your point, if you want to get loud, volume can increase.
Because that's the thing is like you coming at me a certain like I'm gonna say this, me being calm is helping you out. Because if I matched your energy, like what did what's the man Eric May say? You go low, I'm going to hell. Like we going lower. I'm saving your life by me stepping back, and be like, okay, let me take a breath. Like I'm saving your life because you don't understand what you're about to get into.
And you want to know something about Josh Rogers that I don't know, because I don't usually get super angry. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I know that there's somebody out there who probably can beat me up. Mm-hmm. Here's the gag about Josh Rogers though. I ain't scared to lose no fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going into the fight, like, expecting to lose, but just in the chance that you are bigger, stronger, whatever. The thing is, I'm not afraid. Because if it gets to that point, I don't want it to get to that point because I'm too old for that. But if it ever got to that point, I want you to know I came from the South where my grandma and them taught me, you do whatever you can to win that fight. Yeah. Throw a book, punch, kick. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's saying it's still here.
Like, if I'm getting...
If I lose, you're going to know you fought me. Just know that.
But I was taught that the fight is never over until you win. So you might beat me up today, but tomorrow
I'm coming back.
I'm coming back, bro. Until I win, I'm coming back. Like, so that's another thing too. I think sometimes people don't understand like who you're dealing with, which is why I know my anger, I know my frustrations, I know my temper. Oftentimes I try to, well, one, I don't know who I'm dealing with, but also sometimes people don't know who I am. So I try to like be calm and cool because I'm also inside I wish a nigga would type person. Like I be wanting the things to happen, but also I'm like, I don't want things to happen because I have a career, I have a family to deal with.
Yeah, I don't want to lose any of that stuff.
None of those things. But oftentimes people don't consider who they're dealing with because they don't, think oftentimes, I think even with us, for instance, well-dressed, well-mannered, educated black men, churchgoers, corporate people, like, but y'all don't understand, like, again, you said you from Memphis, I'm from Pomona, like, we're not like slouches, you know what I'm saying? We're not like afraid of the smoke, but oftentimes we don't, because somebody don't want smoke mean they're afraid of the smoke. I'm not afraid of the smoke, I just don't want the smoke because I know there's things can be lost, and I don't know I don't know how far I will go. That's my problem. I don't know how far I will go.
And here's the thing about millennials. We grew up in the era where restaurants still had smoking section.
Oh, yeah.
So just to kind of make that analogy a little bit more plain, we didn't walk through, we done been in the smoke. We didn't have secondhand smoke.
Listen.
Cancer adjacent, right?
All the smoke.
All our life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap up this conversation by saying this. How do you, in terms of conflict resolution, what is your go-to? What is your preferred method? Is it like face-to-face, get on the phone, text message, avoidance? Like, what is it?
It's tough. I don't like talking to people. But I know sometimes you got to have the conversation. It depends on who it, like with me and Lauren, our conflict resolution is text message, because I know if we get in person, we can have our issues. Mm-hmm. Other people, I just want to get it over with. So like, let's just talk about it. Let's have this conversation, either face to face, phone, whatever. I think in person is best, in my opinion, oftentimes, because let somebody make the wrong move and they can go left real bad.
Yeah,
they can go physical. Mm-hmm. So I prefer phone. If we can, sometimes even like, I know some people avoid like things in the writing because you can misread the tone. But there's sometimes too, there's receipts. It's like this: I said what I said. The receipts are here, and if you can read and you can write your tone into what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Take it out if you want to take it. It is what it is. But I said what I said. Mother Leak said. I said what I said.
If I wanted to say that, I would have said that.
Yeah.
Did I type that?
Right. Yeah, so I feel like there's moments where like I don't. In person, I'm gonna say in person is not. Unless it's like a teacher or something like that where you feel like it won't go to that place. But if it's like somebody you really have like a beef with, I'll say like, just for the safety of all parties involved, email, text message, phone call. But I've also had some shouting matches on the phone before too.
No, yeah, I mean it's a hodgepodge for me. So I'm the opposite with Asher. Like we both, I know I can be really sarcastic, so mm-hmm. I don't want to handle issues via text mm-hmm. because if I got time to think my messages out, I'm gonna say something sarcastic. So it's best for me to respond in the moment and let me think while I fully listen, digest. Because when me and Ash have gotten into disagreements, I talk really slow. Because I don't like to respond to, I don't like to listen to respond. I like to listen to like listen, So it takes me a while to really digest everything you're saying. Mm-hmm. And then I want to get you a response, which sometimes comes off as condescending because I'm taking my time and speaking. I would use vocabulary words I don't always use, but it's me being really intentional with my language, right? I'm not trying to throw out a big 5-syllable word or anything like that, but it's like, I need to say this with intention. Yeah. I need to say this that leads us to resolution. Yep. Because I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to do this. So let me use this language for that. That's with my spouse. Yeah. Most other people, though, it depends on the situation. Mm-hmm. I will say if it's corporate or something like that, or even church, an email is coming somewhere from Josh Rogers. Whether it's to address the issue initially, whether it's to summarize our conversation. Yeah. Because what we're not about to do is for this to ever come back or to be referenced out of context, especially with work. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to send you the email, and I'm going to copy all the folk on it. Yeah. So they know exactly what I said. How I just had a situation this past Friday or or so ago. I was supposed to go on, long story short, I was supposed to go on a trip. The trip got canceled because they didn't want, they ended up not accepting the training module that I had. And they had somebody else doing a similar session, but they wanted some DEI perspectives. And it was like, hey, y'all could jump on a call this evening, a Friday. Yeah. This evening. And it was like, and you can give her a perspective. I said, actually, I cannot jump on a call with her this evening. Mm-hmm. I have meetings until 5:00. And after 5:00, I will not be working. I said, what she can do, and she was on it. So she can send me her outline. Yeah. And I'll try to provide notes before her presentation on Monday. And she was like, oh, well, I'm not done working on our presentation, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, well, best of luck. And if you have time to finish your presentation before you present, and if I have time, I'll take a look at it. And I see, and she didn't copy I copy my manager. So if you ever try, like, it is right here what I said. I'm putting boundaries in place. Mm-hmm. I'm respecting my time. So those kind of things, it was like, it is what it is. Yeah. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with it. And if my manager tried to have a conversation, Josh, you could have been a little bored of me. No, I couldn't have. You came with me in the last hour. Yeah. You want me to have a meeting? I've literally been in meetings on a Friday from 9 to 4 p.m. And you want me to accept another one because they decided to drop the ball and do something differently? Yeah. Nah, I don't work like that. So an email and work, and even in church, because I'm in church leadership, those go really, really far to me. But what I will say is that if it's something personal in church, we had a conversation in person, I usually do a wraparound email to say, hey, thanks for the conversation. Yeah. Just want to highlight what we suggested, and this is our agreed upon plan moving forward. Yeah. Please confirm receipt. Yeah. Right? Because if you confirm it, that means that you've now admitted that this is what we talked about. Mm-hmm. This is what we addressed. This is what we agreed to. So anything outside of this now gives me cause for me to come at you. Blah, and then I'm coming at you via email in that regard too. Blah, 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 blah. So it just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like LeBron and Stephen A was just very, very interesting. And I know people are hyping it up to be probably more than what it is. But like at some point, we got to also understand you are a major superstar, but respect goes both ways. And again, it's hard to hear criticism and critique of your children. Mm-hmm. But if it's valid and it's based on facts and it wasn't disrespectful, I think we gonna have to bite that. We're gonna have to bite that bullet. Because like I've seen my son get taken out of football games.
Mm-hmm. And your son's really good.
And he's good. But if he was messing up the play, it's like, Jada, get your head in the game. I'm not running down there and be like, no, he was not performing at his best. Mm-hmm. And if there was an analyst that was talking about him in that game, as long as they didn't get disrespectful, if they said Jada missed his tackle, Jada did this, Jada looks lethargic. Like, you did, bro. Like, you did. You look lethargic. You missed those tackles. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
If they say in person, like, Jaden hair is too long, or Jaden...
Yeah.
His attitude is bad. It's not personal.
If he wasn't out there doing the gritty before the game, maybe it would have been more focused. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's different.
That's personal.
That's different.
Jaden missed, like you said, Jaden missed 4 tackles. Like, all right, got it. He missing assignments, got it. So even with the Stephen A stuff, it was strictly basketball. There was no personality involved in it. So it is what
it is.